Pillars of Eternity continues. Welcome back, Hordlings, to more Pillars of Eternity. We're doing the White March expansion stuff, and we are in Galvino's workshop.
How may I help?
Get rid of that trap.
Indeed.
That's right, we can't disarm that one.
What is it?
Alright, we got a new shield that I have been asked to check out. I went to my stash and I wasn't able to read it before, but it is Ode Jiren's Wall. It's a nice one-handed large shield, deflection 16. However, it gives you -8 accuracy. It also gives you +10 of all incoming hits are converted to grazes. And it is superb, +12 shield deflection. Everyone in Balreach knew Garon as a grumpy old man with an inordinate fondness for beats and no patience for chit-chat. None knew him as the Adirian bruiser whose own trouble past had forced him to seek a fresh start in the colonies. So when the Adirian soldiers marched into Balreach at the start of the War of Defiance, it surprised everyone when old Jerun joined the village defenders with a shield and sword and went toe-to-toe with the Adirian forces, holding them back as well as any of his younger comrades. Now, even though it affects accuracy, for tanking purposes, it is probably a great shield for Eder. Better deflection. Of course, worse accuracy. And it is superb over being exceptional. And enchanting is kind of out of the window with shields, so we'll go ahead and put that bad boy on. The 10% of incoming hits being converted to grazes is huge. That means 1 every 10 hits will be doing a lot less damage, which is nice. I think it's worth the sacrifice of accuracy in this case. And of course, eventually maybe we'll be able to make it legendary once we still start killing bog dragons left and right. You know.
What is it?
See if I can just get Lug to set this off so I can run everyone past it.
As you wish.
Ooh, a key and a note. This hastily written entry is dotted with blots of ink. I refuse to continue wasting my time with the stitchwork grotesqueries. What work is spent in granting the rotting corpses the feeblest spark of life is later tripled in repairs. Truly they came apart at the seams. The sight of them in the corridors has come to disgust me. They held nothing of the subject's vitality, intelligence, coordination. Only brute obedience. Flesh has too gentle a grasp upon essence, that much is clear. Little wonder the fools at Brackenbury were willing to pawn these sorry specimens off so cheaply. Medaccio, the stench! That gives us a good reason to rest here before we move on. We've got some grain. This platter has gone entirely untouched, leaving the tantalizing meal to the flies.
I'll see what I can find.
That's a fucking waste.
Keeping an eye out.
All right, then.
Get him right there in the door.
That's not...
I'm ready. Freros, seres!
Don't even...
Well, we got some camping. We might as well start blowing our load.
Lavaru, be...
Don't even slow it. So much for you.
Mishap and construct.
Do you think if you click on me enough that I'll lay an egg? Sorry to disappoint you.
Ah. A little Warcraft reference?
Yes.
Thought the bitch might blow up. An impressive assortment of wine bottles line these shelves. Most appear to be Valiant
What is it?
vintages. Did I do that?
Bring them down. Gotcha.
Goddamn unstable son of a bitches.
Gotcha. So much for you.
This hulking contraption hums with power. Approaching within a few feet sets a peculiar buzzing to your teeth. That makes my penis tingle. Fuck!
Yes? Lava will be on seek!
I don't think Call to Slumber is going to work on those guys. I just don't think it is.
So much.
Drift!
Recepte Ayek!
I shan't. You might find this interesting.
Ooh, the mannequin arm had a ruby and a vessel bone.
I'll see what I can do.
Ooh, spellword amulet. Plus 10 defense against spells. Believe we have one of those. But they're good to have if we know we're about to get into a bunch of battles with mages and the like. The mannequin's head has been all but seared away by some unknown spell. The wood is warped and pitted through. This discarded note reads, Mendacho! 3 weeks of hard work gone and fully articulated frame with them. These crude materials are more unstable than expected, though no less expensive. I will try a slower process. More electricity, perhaps. Along the bottom of the page, a scrawled addendum reads, Too much electricity will require more subjects. There's always some mad fucking scientist using people to his
What
own
is it?
means.
Yes? That's unusual.
No, not in this dungeon. Galvino's workshop is filled with treachery. We got full circle there. You want to get some? Come get some.
Don't even
Oh goodness, these blowing up motherfuckers.
blowing it down.
Hey,
Boom shagalaka. You just gotta use a little hit and run technique with them bitches. Bugbug has a tendency to go berserk at the end of battle when it doesn't matter.
I'll see what I can find.
You do that. Little R&R.
What is it?
I don't know, but I feel fucking delicious right now. Hello. An elderly man hunches over a cluttered desk in the back of a workshop. His flesh is pulled tightly around thin, fragile-looking bones, except around his neck, where it hangs loose and waddles. He turns as you enter, a scowl already chiseled into his lined face.
Back again? I told you.
He hesitates, squinting at you from behind smudged and dusty spectacles.
Of course, a fresh fool to replace the last fools. What brings you stomping through my workshop, eh?
He draws his words out, looking you up and down. A sneer creeps across his face. I sell false teeth. Heard you could use a new set.
This one's got spirit.
Still wheezing with mirth, he turns to his bronze golem over his shoulder.
What do you think of that, my girl? A kindred soul?
You better hope not.
The voices echo from within the golem. I have got a fancy for this sin already.
Hear that, Timora? Another who would tolerate your barbs and insults.
Get on with it. I didn't come to listen to you two bicker.
Yes, I haven't forgotten about you. You come for the White Forge, just like the rest of them.
He waves his hand impatiently.
Boys with smooth cheeks and wild dreams. Girls with bright ribbons tied next to their scabbards.
His voice rises and falls with the sing-song of mockery.
Old men and women, too, seeking a final blaze of glory before they're snuffed out for another turn at the wheel. Sound familiar?
You've said this all before, I take it.
I have this conversation with every pig-headed swashbuckler those Postenagos and stalwarts send here. Go see Galvino, they say. Surely he'll help you.
Must have slipped their minds what a busy and important fellow you are.
In the silence that follows, the temperature in the room seems to drop. Galvino glares at her.
I should have let them stone you. Would have silenced your endless rattling forever.
The hanging folds of skin beneath his neck tremble.
Then you'd have naught but those frostbitten inbreds for company.
I guess that is what's like if Eloth and Ismar were two separate people. Come on now. I sound nothing like either of them. Pathetic old fool, I knew you couldn't tell me anything useful. Of course, we have a perception. We'll do our perception here. You're upset. There's an old wound with Stelbart, then.
The spiteful imbeciles destroyed my career, ruined years of work. But let us focus on the reason for your visit, yes? The villagers and their adventurers hammer and pry at the battery as if they were laying siege to some moldering lord's keep.
He swats the air in front of his face.
But those stones were laid by some of the finest builders ever to have lived, disciples of Abidan in the truest sense. They will not fall by the whims of any kith. And the door itself, it is infused with living essence.
He holds his hands before him and his eyes are wide with wonder. Get to the point already! His cheeks wither and wrinkle like paper as he scowls.
The Pargrunen of Durgan's battery perished within their own keep, victims of a violent disagreement among their own commandants.
His mouth twists into a wicked grin.
Surely in the village you have heard stories, no? Disappearing caravans, tracks in the snow, screams from the high towers.
He pauses, watching your expression with a raconteur's glee.
The work of spirits still trapped in the battery, and a testament to those impenetrable walls.
He raps on the mortared stone of his own home.
But the door of the keep, the one the Pargrunen filled with essence, it was made to listen, to recognize its masters.
Go on!
Traditional Aptapo cultures revolved around language. Words revealed who they were and where they were from. That is why you need a Kantek.
He holds up a twitching finger. What's a Kantek?
Some liken it to a poem, others to an anthem. In reality, it is more than either.
He holds one hand out, turning it this way and that in a balancing motion.
A Kantek is a statement of purpose, A declaration of identity. Each is unique to its stronghold.
Ha! Seal your door with keys of words, and any liar can talk his way through. There's nothing built of words that won't break when the slightest stress is applied.
Thus, to enter a fortress like Durgan's Battery, you would stand at the gate and recite its cantic.
He spreads his arms, his face aglow. Fascinating!
Molignaro.
He dismisses you with a flick of his hand.
To learn the cantic, you must speak with one of the dwarves of Durgan's Battery. A shame they are all dead, no?
He rubs his hands together, pacing.
But no doubt their souls live on in one or two of the villagers of Stalwart. Like fine wine poured into a cheap pot.
Derision curls his lips.
But to identify them, that is the first problem. You would need the skills of an animancer.
You're an animancer! The golem's head turns in one slow, oil-smooth movement.
Yeah, Galvino, why don't you go back to Stalwart? Oh, there's a sight I'd rust my joints to see.
Enough!
He snatches an ink pot from the desk and hurls it at the golem. It flies wide, spattering the wall with ink. Motionless, the golem watches him with her black glass eyes.
I shall speak no more of that damned village.
Galvino's mouth and brows have calcified into a stern expression. I'm a watcher! The golem swivels her head sharply toward you. Her mask of a face and the glass behind it betray no emotion, but it seems as if she's watching you. Carefully.
A watcher? Diverus? If this is true, then you could find a sole descendant from Durgan's Battery, no question. But the greater difficulty remains.
Galvino rubs his not whiskered cheeks.
You would have to learn the cantic from the dormant soul. And to do that, you would have to awaken it.
Awaken? Someone? How would I do that?
An awakening is merely the jolting of a dormant soul into consciousness.
He makes a bursting motion with his hands, splaying his fingers wide.
When such things happen normally, it is because something has reminded the subject of a past life, often violently so.
He smacks his workbench with surprising vigor. Eloth flinches.
Thus, to awaken one of the former dwarves of Durgan's Battery, you will need to address that soul, and preferably by name.
He folds his hands together, steepling his fingers.
But show some care. When you examine these souls, whatever it is you watchers do, you may see images, memories.
He leans forward, his back hunched.
These are moments of special import. What you see will tell you much about the person, and perhaps the condition in which they awaken.
He raises his hoary eyebrows and tilts his head back.
Awaken them from a traumatic memory, and who knows? Maybe they awaken thirsty for blood. Or maybe you awaken someone else.
He cackles again. You understand the consequences of awakening as well as any, Luglug. Yet perhaps there is benefit to the process as well.
Here, this has been tuned to the Aeon of Durgan's Battery. Use it near the villagers, and it should tell you if one has a soul old enough to have come from the battery.
He rummages around and produces an unfamiliar device. But this awakening would be permanent, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Whoever you awaken will live with the memories and the personality of a past life. Maybe peacefully, maybe not.
His bony shoulders rise in a shrug.
That is why you must pay attention to the soul you would awaken, no? It is a monumental thing to impose on another, but these are the very people who wish to rediscover the White Forge, Verus.
He removes his spectacles and polishes the dirty lens with his tunic. So the contact is all I need?
Who can say? None have yet opened Durgan's Battery.
Galvino raises his hands, palms up.
But the ones that came before you, I think they got close. You may wish to find them and see what they discovered.
I found what's left of them. A journal and a tile.
Most interesting.
He adjusts the spectacles as he peers at the tile.
They spent many days at the battery door. This looks like something that once belonged there.
He taps the tile. I see. Thank you for your help, old man.
Indeed. Now, go pester somebody else and leave me to my work.
I'm going with him.
The golem looks between you, her neck turning on its oil joint.
Go to Stalwart? Is this your macabre sense of humor, or has something gone to rust in that beautiful head I crafted?
Calvino stares at her agape.
No one will bother me while I'm with him. Besides, I can help him find people in Stalwart.
The golem's burnished face is eerily impassive.
You haven't been to Stalwart in 13 years. And this Watcher sees souls. What help could you be? Besides, I have need of you here. You owe whatever remains of your wicked life to me.
A frown sours on his lips as he taps his chest with a crooked finger. The golem says nothing, but her essence smolders. Resentment rises from her shimmering waves. She swivels her head to look at you. I'd like her to travel with me.
Quay? No. You don't know what you ask.
He shakes his head, waving his hands.
This woman, the Devil of Carrick, she was a notorious murderer. Burned people alive all over the region. Besides, she works for me. After all, I am the one who preserved her.
He strains his back and looks you up and down, taking your measure. I'll pay you.
Is that so?
Glares at the devil before turning back to you.
This one has cost me dearly. If you want to employ her, well, you must pay accordingly.
Deal!
Fine price for a blacksmith striker. Suppose I should be flattered.
And there you have it, a bargain.
Cool. Head back to my home base, bitch. I'll see you later.
A moment. You are going back to Stalwart, yes? Perhaps you could do me a favor.
Calvino gives you a thoughtful frown. Tell me about this favor.
There is a man in the village named Grind, the head fisherman. The rest of Stalwart kisses his feet because he fills their stinking blades with speckleback. But I know he's not as virtuous as he seems.
His face crinkles in vicious glee. What exactly do you want me to do to him?
Humiliate him, of course. Show his neighbors what he truly is, and let him live with the disgrace.
He points vaguely in the direction of the village, his thin arm trembling.
He's always been a ripple sponge addict. Just got good at hiding it once his sainted sister died and left him in charge of the fishery. But he keeps a stash in the fishery. Sneaks in at night when the others have gone home, and emerges sluggish and red-eyed a few hours later. I want you to expose him. Go to the fishery after dark when it's empty. Find his ripple sponge and show it to Renengild.
Seems like you have a history with Grind.
That self-righteous meddler engineered my eviction from the village. He turned them all against me. Now I want him to feel the scorn of those mush-brained imbeciles.
I see.
Do not answer me now. But when you return to that festering eyesore and smell the stink of fish that hangs in the air, consider what I've said.
He grins.
Besides, you appreciate a good joke, don't you? De Verus, this will be a great one. But be sure to approach the fishery by night, when it's empty. They will give you no end of trouble if they see you stealing during the day.
I wanted to know more about the expeditioners who came before you.
As would I, but there is little to tell. They never gave their names.
He tugs at his whiskers.
But they seem to know more about the battery than the others, which is unusual because they did not seem like typical adventurers.
He raises his snowy eyebrows.
Their hands were smooth and marked with ink, not scars, and they traveled light. Unusually so.
He rubs his chinny chin. Unusual indeed. What do you suppose they're looking for?
Val himself could not have said, and I haven't the time to concern myself with the business of strangers. Something else? Quay.
What were those constructs I encountered in your workshop?
Other projects, they are none of your concern.
You seem pretty eager to change the subject. He mutters fiercely under his breath, raising his hands to the ceiling.
For years I've been trying to create another like the Devil of Carrick. Yet those post-Enacos in Stalwart destroyed my machinery.
His drooping skin trembles in his rage.
Now, I can only create these broken, mindless things. The Devil remains my most perfect creation.
His lips twist with a taste of something bitter. Wait, where have you found souls to create these other golems?
Smugglers, slavers, fugitives, the kind of riffraff that pass this way. Rarely missed, and good work to keep my little devil busy.
Why do you need more golems?
I can't present the Devil of Carrick to the academies, can I? A mad woman and a murderer? No. I need to bring a success to the Republics.
He rubs his hands together, frowning. I've heard enough! Alright, we're gonna need to return to the town. Keep an eye on the Devil of Carrick. The Devil of Carrick actually traveled with me after I mentioned that I'm a watcher, then I returned to the village. I'm not sure what she's after, but I'll be sure to keep a close watch on her. You don't need this stuff, old man. What do you think you're doing? This appears to be a crude rendering of the mountains surrounding Durgan's battery.
What is it?
Alright, I think we got enough info for now.
You must...
I think for now we're going to head right back. Go take some care of some shit in Staleward Village.
Yes?
Still nighttime, so let's head down to the fishery, see what we can find out. Arda's bracelet. This bracelet is comprised of many small interwoven beads, and it's held together by a fine silver clasp. Together the beads form a stylized image of mountain peaks. You reach into the barrel and find a bracelet. A thick aura of essence clings to it, fresh with your memory. You feel yourself drawn to it. In the memory you stride into the fishery. The floors are swept clean, but the wood is still splashed with the snow melt and fish guts. A man hunkers in the corner, his head nodding forward as if in sleep. He looks up drowsily as you approach. It's Grind. His face is youthful but sallow, and his hair hangs in stringy locks. You feel a pang of anger and pity at your brother's debauchery.
Arda.
His voice is a little more than a croak.
It's past midnight.
Your throat feels tight. Grin wipes his nose and examines the mingled blood and powder on the back of his hand. He shrugs. Your fingers clench around coarse, thick fabric, your father's best wool cloak tucked under your arms.
Go! To raid Ceres, or Defiance Bay, or fucking Air Glonfoth. I don't care!
You hurl it at the ingrate huddled on the floor. He picks up the cloak and looks at it with the same sort of dull wonder. He wipes his nose on the lining. A sudden rush of fury leaves your limbs weak and raw.
I'll tell them. Mayor Sina healed. The neighbors. Everyone.
You force the words through your teeth.
About what?
He mumbles, churning his words from a morass of snot and saliva.
The stealing. You think I haven't noticed the money missing from the fishery coffers? Or heard Tana talk about losing a golden duke?
You whisper, afraid even now that someone will overhear you, and the words scorch your throat.
You can't be found when there's work to do, but every time those merchant wagons roll into town, you've got coin enough for a few bags of ripple sponge.
No, it's not.
He rubs his red-rimmed eyes. Your own grow warm and blurry.
Stalwart tolerates your sponge habit, but they won't abide your thieving.
You touch your bracelet, a gift from Mother, plucking at the beads.
You won't.
He rises steadier on his feet than you would have thought.
I will.
You stride toward him. I wouldn't have shamed Mother and Father while they were living, but I won't let this keep up. Your anger swallows the last of your pity, anger at him for putting you in this position, for doubting your resolve, for failing to see. You're close enough to smell his stale, sour breath when he pushes you. You fall watching his widening eyes and ceiling spinning into your vision. Isn't this just like him, grinned with his foul tantrums, never thinking of anybody but himself, and now you're going to be nursing a headache for a week? Just goes to show you can't help some people. But you remember him too, your baby brother running through the snow, slipping, falling on ice. And you're slipping, falling, and there's a table behind you, but it shouldn't. The memory ends abruptly, jolting you back into the present with your heart hammering and your palms sweating. This motherfucker killed his sister. The fishery door creaks open and in walks Grin, staring at you and the bracelet in surprise and outrage. His face drains of color.
You take shelter in our village and then ransack it like a common thief? You'd better explain yourself.
His voice shakes, as do his wide, squared shoulders. Galvino told me you were a ripple sponge addict. Seems you're much more than that.
Any who put stock in the ravings of that bitter old fool deserve all the trouble they get.
He raises his voice, half turning to the guard with him. You killed your sister, Arda, right here in this room. He opens his mouth to reply, but the words catch in his throat. The guard next to him stares at the bracelet, recognition turning to horror.
It was an accident. I was a failure and a wretch then. But I never would have killed anyone. Least of all my own kin.
He turns his gaze down, offering his apology to his own clenched fist.
I gave her body to the lake, but I kept her bracelet to remember the cost of my own weakness.
He loosens his hands and stares at the emptiness in his leathery palms.
I ain't asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve any. My penance is my work on behalf of the village, and they need it truly. I know you've got powerful ideas about right and wrong. I'm asking you to let me go, for Stalwart's sake, not mine. Let me do the work Arda would have done. That's my debt to Stalwart, and the only fitting way to honor my sister.
So we have a few options here. If we let him turn himself into the town, well, we can let him go, or demand payment from him, or we can convince him to reveal a secret to everyone, which will cause him to leave the village and disappear from the game. Which, that's kind of evil, but who knows? He might come back. We could have him pay us for the bracelet. He shivers with disgust but recovers
Fine.
himself.
I trust this will be enough. Thank you for your compromise.
We don't want to do that. That's no fun. I think, and Mr. Satan also thinks that killing him would be the evilest thing, because then he can no longer produce fish for the town. It'll put them in a hell of a predicament.
Of course.
I was just hoping to extort some money before I did so. But apparently we're not going to get away with doing that, so we will end this bastard's miserable life.
You take shelter in our village and then... What's that supposed to mean? It was an accident. I was a failure and a wretch then. But I never would have killed anyone. I gave her body to the lake. I know you've... Let me do the work Arda would have done. That's my debt to Stalwart. And the only fitting way to honor my sister.
You can't get away with this!
Shame. Was counting on you to do some good around here.
And now we're gonna fuck this dude up.
I'm ready.
What the fuck did this press enter to input a command come from? The fuck did I do that? That shit off my screen. Alright, we've dealt with Grind. We also need to use our little instrument here.
Indeed.
Well?
How may I help?
Whoa! The soul lit
How to
up.
speak up? My...
Feel her essence humming and buzzing. Another personality and set of memories lies dormant within her soul, convulsing as if in fitful sleep. The contours of that dormant soul are sharp, ragged. As you reach for it, it seizes you violently. You're standing in a darkened feast hall. Sturdy tables and benches have been stacked against the door in the far end of the room. You know it won't be enough. A few dozen other dwarves from the Tonally crew wait with you, shovels and pickaxes in their shaking hands.
Sinove, please. If we go now, we can get behind the barricade. We won't do any good here.
He's right, and you hear the agreement in the quiet murmur of the others. But Arms Warden Maroon ordered you to hold the ground here. Yet in those rising whispers you hear the opening bars of mutiny. You never tolerated insubordination from your crew when you aren't about to start. So you heft your pickaxe and swing it into the man's skull. He collapses and others fall silent. The acrid odor of urine rises from his body.
We're gonna go down fighting. Anyone who feels differently can settle it with me right now.
Your voice is hoarse from hours of shouting orders, but no one else moves. They cast their eyes down in the flickering torchlight. Something thuds against the door. The others raise their weapons, picks, shovels, and a few swords, but they don't dare flinch. Your own pulse pounds at your temples. You pull back from Taina's soul, but you feel Zenov's wrath and ferocity tugging at her still. Your essence thrashes, lashing out at any unseen enemy. Zenove is powerful but dangerous too. Her fury is anchored to old and threatening memories. You consider that there may be others you could awaken. Taina, however, seems unaware of any of this, and she blinks back at you with cloudy, placid eyes. Awaken, Zenove, and remember your battle in the feast hall! A tremor passes through Taina's face, and her rumpled skin goes slack. After a whacking cough, she blinks like someone slowly coming to consciousness.
That name. It carries memories of death, war, fury, the taste of blood. What do you want with it?
Her eyes have grown unusually clear. If she attacks, I have to punch out an old lady. I don't want to hear about it from anyone. There was nothing I could do. I need to enter Durgan's battery.
What trickery is this, stranger? You think a Pargrin would so easily betray her own people?
Her hands clench and unclench around an imaginary weapon. Zenove's essence stirs with the same battle-ready fury you sensed in her memory from Durgan's battery. She is dangerous. Beneath Zenove, Taina's overwhelmed consciousness struggles. You died long ago! Zenove's rage is a heavy fog that clouds and thickens, choking Taina's fading consciousness. Zenove herself is overwhelmed and she forces Taina's eyes into narrow slits.
Lies! Arms Warden Maroon will see you cast into the White Forge.
You're mistaken. Calm down.
You'd rob us of our steel and leave us bleeding.
She doubles over, coughing and convulsing. Zenove at last overwhelms Taina, screaming through the old woman's mouth. In that instant, Zenove's psyche expands, filling you with a lifetime's worth of memories and experiences, including a set of verses that you know to be the contact of Durgan's battery.
Hammers of Durgan, ring loud. May the anvil's deep music resound. Walls of the battery, safeguard our works from marauder and wilder alike. Abidun's faithful travail by the forge and the fires that brighten the ore.
It's too much for Taina's dying conscience. It shrivels and vanishes as Zenove, now in full control of Taina's body, attacks. You will die, dwarf bitch! And now we will rob you blind. The teeth have been sanded smooth in preparation for carving. Bronze Abaddon statuette, stag hide. Many households in Durgan's battery had a statuette of Abaddon that is cast in White Forge. The original was made by a renowned Aptapo sculptor. Now, there's another person that we could have got into the mind of to get that, and of course there was a way to push the Zenove back down underneath the consciousness of Taina, but the evil thing there was to let her come to fruition and then slay her old dwarven ass.
Something I can do for you?
Hi?
Something I can do for you? Half.
Looks like since we already learned the words, they won't let us do it to her as well, but she would have been taken over by her subconsciousness or her past as well. Still plenty of tasks and sub-quests to do. We're going to head back to Galvino's, though, and collect on that. Back to the study. Lug's rocking 353 hit points over there. Pretty substantial amount over the tank.
The devil has not scorched you yet, eh? Perfetto.
I sent that bitch to my fortress. I have news about Grind.
Yes? Does the sniveling cur hide in his home? Or has he been exiled to a place even more frigid and foul?
He claps his hands together in excitement. I learned that he murdered his sister.
Diverus! The man is even more of a wretch than I thought.
His face glows with macabre delight.
What of him now? Surely the villagers string him up with his own fishing line.
When he saw what I was up to, he attacked. I had to fuck him up.
He attacked first. I must trust your word, amico.
He gives you a skeptical look.
I would have preferred that he did not escape his ignominy so quickly. Still, I am grateful for your help.
Better be.
I will open a good wine tonight. As for you, take this.
All right, some experience and some major endurance potions. Average adventurer. Let's send our Devil of Karak. We are getting mighty, mighty, mighty close to a level. Level 13. It's going to be sweet.
Yes.
A man stands in the middle of the road. Without lowering the blade that rests on his shoulder, he takes 2 steps forward as if to speak for the group behind him. Was hoping for another gift bearer. They always carry surprises, and we love surprises. By we, of course, I mean me and this. The man taps the hilt of his sword. It'll be quick. Try to stay still. You done fucked up! Draw some aggro with Eder there. And let's open a can of whoop ass on all these bastards. You guys are in deep fucking shit! Durance is getting up in the mix.
What?
Way to go, Lug. You know, you really should
Yes.
proc that berserk a little bit earlier. Saint Aidan's Redeemer. A soulbound greatsword, two-handed. Oh shit. Recurring signature in the page of this notebook indicates that it belonged to someone named Ixtali. The pages contain an assortment of entries. Some notes list a collection of items alongside their purpose or value. Other pages are scribbled notes about the land. A map of rusted wood marks an important body of water. Next to it are several underlined notes. They read, "No talk, don't lock, formalities first, of course, and she'll come up. Kula Misha. She's a good girl and likes to hear before she swims down. Ixla Kula. Just make sure she likes the fish for a job well done." This dude's been fucking dolphins. Mug of beer! Alright, binds with Barbarian Fighter Paladin. The sword is well made, but modest design. The lone flourish is a feather pattern, radiating from the hilt, and even has been crafted with exquisite care. Each bob and shaft is smooth, straight line beneath your fingers. Power and warmth radiate from the blade. We're gonna give this to our paladin. It's feathery just like her. Seems very fitting. Oh shit. It's pretty gnarly too. Deal 1,000 damage to enemies with St. Aidan's Redeemer to unlock the next level, or 200 to spirits. Right now it's 19 to 27 slashing, piercing, exceptional, 25% chance to cast Destroy Vessels on hit. It's gonna work good against those zombies and undead and such. Oops. I dig it. Soul binding is the way to go, baby. Let's see what happens if I try to put it on. Look like. Oh, it just says "Go fuck yourself." Nice. That is a dope sword, man. Holy shit, it's perfect for her. Almost feel like it was made for her.
Yes. As you wish.
Hello, good job, Aloth.
Yes?
We're gonna leave that campfire there because we
As
are
you
good. I think this is one of our, oh yeah, this is definitely one of our bounties here. Why don't you go do that little frenzy thing now, big guy? Fuck, man. They're just bursting through the lines and saying, fuck,
I need something sharper.
they snuck through, knocked out my mages, big deal. Still whooped the fuck out of them. Gonna have to just start dropping shields right in the beginning. Forgotten Tear of the Beloved. Unique flail one-handed. And of course, we have a head to turn in.
As you wish.
Whoa! We got that camping supplies back there that we didn't use. Or jump in the fireball. Why not?
Lava will be on transit!
As you wish.
Hey.
Yes.
Talisman of the Unconquerable. Plus 2 intellect while endurance is above 50. Plus 25 focus gain while endurance is above 50. It's a great talisman as long as you can keep your endurance up. Got a couple new books here. Let's steal some spells. Repulsive Visage. Conceal Halt's Draining Touch. And Ray of Fire. Probably a good spell to have right now. And it's Frozen Temperate. Wall of Force, Wall of Flame. I mean, why not? This is pennies on the dollar right here. I don't see myself normally using wall spells. I don't know. They don't ever seem to work that great, but we could try them out. Definitely don't think I need them on both characters, though. And we know all that book, thank you. Alright, so Ronstock's already using one of these. Plus on range damage. I think we're better off giving you one of these as well. Good for the opening of the battle and gives me more reason to try to protect you further. Hey yo. Alright folks, that wraps it up for this episode. Stay tuned, we're back in full motion with the Pillars of Eternity and the other LPs that got going on now that Ronstocktober is over. However, I will be working on Elvira 2 to finish that. And that will be the last of the horror games for now. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care and I'll see you soon.